Right, so I'm going to show you a small growing Schefflera. This is Schefflera gracilis. And you can see the way the petiole is coming out, and it's broken into 5 leaves here. And it's doing really well under the patio. Earlier on in the year, it was getting eaten a bit. But it's done really well here. I was going to take it out, but it's done well. So if it's done well, I'm just going to leave it here. You can see where it was getting eaten here. One little bite here. Maybe the bugs that are here in the summer have died off, or they're hibernating. So that's gracilis. It goes to 1.5 to 2 meters in height. I'm going to show you another small one now. Right, so I have some Schefflera on the way. Some new ones, new varieties that I don't have. But the small one down at the end of the jungle path there on the right hand side, really small. I think that's out of place because I'm looking for height and foliage going into just the little access points, paths into the wood. So I'm going to bring that small one up here, and it's the Schefflera alpina, and it grows to about 2 meters, and I'm going to be putting that in around here. In close to the Schefflera taiwaniana. Unbelievable that this is still alive, getting through winters. Last winter without protection. That's the one that Max nearly ate. There wasn't hardly any root left on it after Max got at it. But it's super healthy, and I don't fuss over these plants at all. I just get them in and look after them. It would have been the same size as this one here. I think this is a multi-branch. Yeah, it's got two good stems. And it's developing nicely. Yeah, so I'm going to put the alpina in here, because the idea will be that this tetrapanix is going to grow up over it, and so will the taiwaniana. That'll grow to 3+ meters. Bananas, trachycarpus nanas. That's doing really well since I put it in, and that'll be in front of it. So you'll be able to see the alpina through this gap here. The foliage will be different to the taiwaniana. Right, so coming into the wood this way, or to the right, or going back across this pathway, I'm looking for the height with the giant leaf rhododendron, Sina grande, and this is the Schefflera nova. Doing really well, it's growing well, and that's going to grow up really tall. The one I couldn't remember, this is a rhododendrofolia. They get nice and tall as well, and that kind of serrated leaf. So this is going to be the odd one out if I leave it here, because it's only go to about 2 meters. This is alpina, but you can see the leaves are healthy. None of them are. That one's a little bit damaged from whatever. So it's at the right size now to take out. I was going to leave it till spring, but I'm going to do it now. Right, so just clearing away this natural mulch that's after dropping now this autumn. But you can see that when I was planting them, I blended up stone, gravel, billows, gravel, sand, anything you have, and blend it up really well with the soil. If you do this with any of the Schefflera, or if you were planting a princeps, trachycarpus princeps, they like that drainage as well. But yeah, I haven't had any problems when I blended up with the sand and stone. And I have a pot of stone up above waiting to put this into and blend it up with. Right, so I've tipped out a pot of stone. Yeah, 5 litre pot. Heaps by 5 litre pot. So I'm going to just blend that up into that and get that root ball down into it now. Right, so I have it planted in there now. Mulch gone back in. The ground is really wet after the torrential downpour we had last night. I'm going to show you some more plants. It's coming to the end of the season. Across the way over here. And this is my oldest Schefflera taiwaniana, and it's basically a very small plant, and it's in 2 years. I don't fuss over it. Initially I did put the bamboo canes around it. A solid trunk on it. Huge leaves, and I'd say, okay, try and get in here. So it's down 2 years. I'll put the date on the video. So I'd say it's 7 feet to here, easy. 7 feet to there. And you got another foot there, so do you count in the leaves? I don't know, 8 feet. 2 years. Zero protection over winter. You can see the natural leaf and plants and weeds and everything provides a natural mulch. But absolutely fantastic. I think as regards Schefflera, this is the bread and butter one. This is the one to go for, and it's probably the one it's probably the reason why it's the most popular. And at the moment, it's probably the easiest one to get. Although Schefflera plants are starting to come on more and more and more. To be able to be bought. I did have two. The one over here, and I was spraying weeds, and there was glyphosate, or I've two sprays that I use. One doesn't have any glyphosate and one does, and whichever one hit it anyway, it killed it. It's a pity. So I've bought more anyway, because they are superb. So I've two back over there, one on the raised right in the corner just as you're going into the tunnel, and one just onto this bed here. I might put another taiwaniana back in around the spot where the other one was, They are lovely. Lovely plants. I have, here's another one here. Like where I am, I can put these in small. And once you initially put them in and you keep them damp, they like it damp, but they like lots of drainage. Yeah, and this one has a single stem, and then it branches into 4 or 5. That could be a lovely looking tree type, instead of that single stem going straight up. There was a eucalyptus, I think it was a dalrympliana. It wasn't doing anything in there at all, which I've moved down into the wood about a month ago. I might put a Schefflera in there, taiwaniana, and in behind the Fatsia variegata. These are all ferns that were down in the wood, and they all took. No problem transplanting them. Another, this has 2 stems. I think the more stems the better. It's going to give it a real heavy shrub look. Could grow into a nice small tree. Yeah, but like once you put these in, or I have found anyway, once you put them in, and those initial months, you keep them damp. Don't fuss over. I don't fuss. I just forgot about them after a couple of months. They look after themselves. These dogs are barking or something. Here's some of the other ferns in this bed. Survived the dogs anyway. All the leaves above and the pine carpeting the floor. Natural mulch. Here's the first princeps that I protected for the first couple of winters. I might even protect it again if this winter gets bad. I think once you get them I think it's important to keep the base of the trunk nice and clean. Especially for the princeps. Dogs are going mad. But look at the colour. The colour under here. Fabulous. The shape of that leaf. Yeah. So it's slow, but they grow. And I think I've, like I said with the Schefflera, you know, I've a lot of stone and gravel in here. That's looking really well. Right, so there's another 2 kind of special or plants that I have in here, and this was really small when I put it in. I know different parts of where you live, depending on what part of the country you are or which country you're in, your winters can be really harsh. And this is the Brassiopsis mitis. This is a tiny, it's absolutely vicious with the spikes. I'd say if the dogs ran into this once, they'd remember. Good trunk. The dogs, they've been eating the crab apples coming off the trees in the hedge. Yeah, good sized trunk on it. This is 2 years as well, and so that's 6. That's 7 feet. And up to the top here, that's touching 8 feet easy. So it's pretty much the same as the Schefflera taiwaniana, because they basically all came in at the same time, and I developed all this bed. You see, 2 years ago, if you're interested, you can go back and look at the videos for developing this jungle bed here. So that's 8 feet, 2 years. Sorry, it was spring 23, so 2.5 years. 2.5 years. Yeah, same. Touching 8 feet, Brassiopsis mitis. The Brassiopsis mitis is different to the other Brassiopsis, hispida. Okay, so you can see the leaves on the Brassiopsis mitis. These drop in winter. Do not worry about them coming off in winter. They defoliate. It's a real lightweight, floppy leaf anyway. They only look really, and it's like I was saying yesterday in the winds with Paulownia, these kind of leaves, they just shred in the winds. But what I've had every winter is just this stalk, spiny stalk, and the tip here. Never worried about it once. Never worried about it once. I don't think I've even mulched it. I think there is some advice out there that you can mulch around it, but don't have it around the stem, because you can introduce rot. Kind of similar to princeps. You want to keep that trunk or the stem right at the bottom nice and clean. Yeah, but you could mulch around heavy leaves and manure, compost, stuff like that, like you do with the bamboo. Well, the bamboo you can just pack it in. But I've never ever worried about the mitis. There are other Brassiopsis out there, and the leaves look, they're basically the same look. I don't know the names offhand. I was looking into them last night, and they're super expensive. But I reckon this one is the go for, to go to, the mitis. And as far as I understand, you can cut this, you can chop these and propagate them with cuttings. But I'm not going to chop this unless it snaps in a storm or something. I don't really see any there is little, can't see any green buds or growing points. There are some that are not spikes, so maybe that's where they can rue from. Yeah, mitis, zone 8B here in the southeast of Ireland, so no problem. I'm up on the patio now and I can't even, it's still way above me. This, and I might give it a shot of miracle grow, you know, late spring, just to give it a little bit of a boost. But like all of these, like, you can't come down once these plants get settled in. Can't just keep coming down with watering cans and miracle grow and all that. And too much hassle, too much. They have to be able to look after themselves. Now, the other Brassiopsis. It's hidden here under the, half hidden. And this is definitely different. This is only, well, 1, 2, barely touching 3 feet. It's half. But it is a completely different plant, so I don't think you can actually compare. This has never been protected either. Little growth point here. You could probably cut these as well. This has a much stouter trunk on it. It has less of the those thorns or barbs. Now, I think this was last winter's growing point. I'm not going to pull it out, I'm not going to disturb it. Basically I think it stopped there. It was a single trunk, and this spring it's after thrown out. I think it could have been from the dye back here. It's thrown out a second trunk here. Lots of leaves. And then from here as well, it's not even a foot probably. This is all the new growth this season, but I don't fuss over this at all. I don't feed it. I don't think the dogs have touched it because they come running through here. This is a fabulous plant. Look how dark those green leaves are. It's got the serrated edges, and it's got little kind of like needles, spikes right at the edge. But it's much more leathery. And this plant here, this holds its leaves all the way through winter here. It does. That's a new leaf. And then it drops them in spring. And then late spring, early summer, you see the little purple, maroon coloured new leaves coming out. So it's very different growth habit. Acts differently over winter here. These two Brassiopsis I dug in pea gravel with manure, so it's very rich, but there's draining underneath it. They don't like to be sitting in the wet, but they like to be damp. Really spiky in here. And I've never protected, I don't think I've ever protected this. I did, I remember it kind of went into shock when I planted this one. This Brassiopsis, it went into shock early spring because it was still wintry. And the leaves started going all different colours, and I was like, oh fuck, I'm going to lose this plant. And it just basically gave it time. I don't think I watered it. I stopped watering this one, and because the ground was wet enough, and it just came right itself. So that's the two Brassiopsis. Beautiful leaves. I could definitely go with one of these again. So today I repotted the Fatsia japonica. So small, so put it into a nice big pot there for winter. This one here, I think there's a few stems coming off the main branch. This one's doing really well. Lots of growth. So hardwood cuttings in the summer seem to do really well. Here's another one. This is from one of the small little cuttings you can see the video on a couple of months ago during the summer. Lovely glossy leaves. I think a couple of them just perished. They didn't develop any root. And this one here, this is Polycarpa green fingers. The cutting here. Put it into a huge big pot. I've a load of compost left over from the tomatoes that were in the tunnel. So I can leave these in the pots. I want these really strong before I decide. They could be going onto the jungle pathway or starting to push into the wood with these. Same with the tetrapanics. They're going to be, I'm going to try and put as many as I can in to give that maximum impact with these leaves. This is the only healthy survivor of Cordyline australis. Basically a bit of trunk, and I had a green nodule coming out the side, and for whatever reason this one took, and it's the only one I have left. So I've potted that up into this big pot. It was in a tiny little pot, but it looks super healthy. Anyway, I'd like to be able to put that down into the wood. I'll wait till there's a really strong root system on it. This is the Sable Minor Cherokee. That's a small sable, but I hope to put that up in where I killed off the grass on at the top of the pathway, with its back up against the wall. And this one here, this is Sable Latonia. They're supposed to be super hardy, tough when they get going. So I've just given them a water today and brought them back out. Yeah, so I'll just finish off this video on another Trachycarpus princeps. And the Trachycarpus princeps can be susceptible to canker. This has lots of growth coming out. This, I've actually transplanted it. It was on the pathway over there. Put it into this bed because I put all the nanas, dwarf varieties over here, hybrids, nanas hybrids. So yeah, same again, planted with lots of stone, blended into the soil, and then just keeping that trunk. I'll press that down. You don't want the soil or compost coming up around the trunk. I'll be protecting that as well during the really bad weather, the ice and snow. I think it's worth it for the first few years, protect them. You know, the trachycarpus, once they get those first 4 or 5 years down into the soil, all that's where it's all happening, under the soil, developing its roots. So yeah, the trachycarpus, the princeps, and the Schefflera, they're not too dissimilar in that they like the stone and the gravel blended in with the soil and compost to give it the drainage. Unlike the let's say an ordinary Trachycarpus fortunei. You just dig a hole, you can put some compost in if the soil isn't good enough, put it in, that's it.